2nd of the 8th. I hope you're not getting tired already, because I plan to do more, so let's see how that goes. First of all, cheers. I just came back from the boat. I just had my shower and I am almost ready to go back to work. It is almost 1, so I am ready to start. But before, I wanted to record this, so we have a witness, a testimony of how it went today. And there are some additional things I want to say.
I wish you'd stay, but there you go. I have so much I want to say to you.
So the first thing I would like to tell you is about the weather conditions and the sea conditions. As you know, I discovered that I am still, like when I was a child, I am still seasick, boat sick, very easily. I have to say that I noticed that it's much easier with a smaller boat, and it happens much faster when I am focusing on small things. Like when I'm looking at the phone to see exactly where I have to go, because the GPS is not showing. So I have to turn on the phone, and then the Huawei phone doesn't like my fingerprint, especially when it's a bit humid. So I have to write my 7 digits code, and I have to look at it. Oh no, it's another page. So all these actions, focusing on the phone and then focusing again to the sea, and then on the phone and then on the sea, that makes me boat sick very easily. Another way is, of course, doing fishing related activities. For example, changing the leader, and I have to open the snaps, and by the way, I don't see them very well anymore, so I have to put them forward, back, and then I cannot take it, and it's a mess, it's a pain. But the worst thing is if the boat is already jumping up and down, that is the best way to be boat sick for me. So what I did, I started tracking every time I go out the weather conditions, and there are some applications which are very good, and they provide a lot of information either as a forecast or as a postcast, as the actual values that were registered during the day. I started to compare the forecasts, like 1 week in advance. I make the booking because they say the weather is okay. Then I check, not daily, but maybe a couple of days before, and the day before for sure, and the morning, and I take screenshots and I compare. Now, the good thing, they are very advanced. So it's very rare that the forecast is completely changed and it doesn't compare, it's not comparable to the original estimate. But within the 2 days, the forecast is very precise, very accurate. And this means as soon as I have a system to allow me to understand if I am able to go out with the boat for fishing or not, then I can even delete my booking. Because, Ahmed and Ashraf, we had together this experience when I was boat sick, but nothing really happened then. Many other times, at least 3 more times, I had been boat sick. One time I had an extensive session of limit sickness, and it's not pleasant at all. I don't like it. I prefer to avoid it. And by the way, it's not the best condition to go fishing anyway, because it means that the waves are high, they are crashing on the boat is jumping here and there. When I'm alone, I don't feel safe, because it's very easy to fall into the water, especially if the boat is really rolling and rocking, as it is. It is. In the open waters, in the open sea, it's frequently the case. So I must be very careful. Plus, I have to drive, I have to check the position, I have to prepare the tackle, I have to fish, which is the pleasant activity I'm going there to do. And at the same time, sometimes I have to operate the boat. Maybe because the fishing line has gone under, or it's going too close to the engines, so I want to turn the boat around, or the fish is very smart and is getting under the hull, or it's going in the opposite direction. So it's not pleasant when it is too bumpy. So what I'm doing is, first of all, I'm making these comparisons before fact to check if the forecasts are good. And also another thing I'm doing is taking the pictures, the screenshots, right before leaving in the morning and now when I come back. So I can see what is, if there is any difference between the two values. Now, okay, this is one thing I'm doing. The other thing is I'm keeping track of these data. Now, originally I thought that the only element, the most important element, was the wind. So I was basically checking the wind. When the wind was low, great. When the wind was high, it's a problem. But soon I discovered that the waves, which is the phenomenon that I want to avoid because it makes me both sick and it makes me not enjoying fishing, waves don't come necessarily from the local wind. There are two kinds of waves. There are the local waves, which come from the local wind, but be careful, they can be even hampered by the local wind. So depending on the direction, if the wind is coming from the desert towards the sea, so it's going in the opposite direction to the actual direction of the waves, what is going to do, this wind, it's going to reduce or to make the waves broken. So I understood it's not a big deal. If the wind is coming from the south, people say here it's okay, because indeed it's a transversal wind with respect to the north direction I'm going to. Yeah, because south doesn't mean really south. It means all along the coast. So I soon realized that another very important element are two things. One is the swell, the so-called swell, which are the waves coming from afar that are not generated locally by the wind. So these are swell waves. And a very important element, which I now consider paramount, it's the energy of the waves. Even if waves are 40 centimeters high or 50 centimeters high, which is a bit limit, I tend to consider above 40 too much movement for me alone on the boat. Even if there are 40 centimeters of waves, but the energy is small, 1 kilojoule, 2 kilojoule, you won't feel it. Because these are ripples. These are small ripples, meaning the height of the wave, the quantity of water which is moving together with the wave. So the size of the wave is different. If it is a small wave just passing by, a ripple of 40 centimeters, it doesn't make a big deal to the boat. If it is a very long wave which goes up and then goes down, and then the boat will rock and roll down, up and down. And I recognize that this element, the energy of the wave, is maybe the most important for me. Like the day before yesterday when I went out, there were waves 40 centimeters, energy 1. Khalas, no problem. I could, of course you feel it, you feel the boat is rocking a little bit, it's not a big deal. I could definitely drive there, enjoy fishing, come back without any sign of sickness and enjoying the activity. But when the energy is like today, 10 kilojoule or above, 16, 20, this is not time to go out. So I am now considering these three elements. One is the wind, but it's not the most important. I also look at the direction of the wind, because this can have an impact, and normally the impact is not very significant for local wind. If the wind is coming like 2 days before and it's very strong, then this wind builds up waves, and this will create a significant wave and energy in the waves. But if the wind is just popping up in the morning, even if it is very strong, like today, it was strong, like 16, 17 knots, so quite important, but you could see that the waves were not generated by that wind, because actually the wind was coming from my back, from Abu Dhabi, and the waves were coming the opposite direction. So that wind was indeed hampering the waves. Okay, so the second element I'm considering are the waves, height, and the third element, the energy. And I'm keeping track and putting intervals, and I'm tracking down when I'm feeling bad, when I'm feeling sick. And today it was a day to feel sick. So I went out and I thought, all right, we'll see. And honestly, I was very surprised in the beginning, because I was driving. I know I don't have to go very fast when there are these waves, because otherwise I would feel both sick immediately. I was driving and I was enjoying. I was actually there like a surfer. I was surfing on the boat. I was enjoying with the music and driving over the waves and jumping. At some point I thought, well, I'm already at the stage in which I am more familiar with boat driving, and I enjoy it, and I don't feel anymore this problem of the waves. Then I stopped. I started fishing, and the boat was rocking and rolling in a way which was unacceptable. I could not even stand. Sometimes I was feeling being pushed on the side. Sometimes I was slipping. I found it was a bit dangerous, but still okay. I didn't feel sick. I fished for some time, and I will tell you more about it later. In the very end, around 10 o'clock, I was feeling sick. I was starting to feel sick, and you have this feeling of nausea which is coming in, which is very unpleasant. And I thought, okay, I have two options here. I try to push it and I will stay here, or I go back. And as I already fished some small fish, I thought I would go back. I will go behind the breakwaters, as you know. I will clean the fish there, so I don't have to clean it in Oryx. I will relax, have my beers there. So I did. I drove back, and indeed it was very clear, even going with the boat in the same direction of the waves, it was very clear that the amplitude of the wave, the movement up and down, was quite important. I already noticed when I was still, but even more when I was driving in the same direction, not towards, in the same direction of the waves. The second element is the fishing strategy. Today I decided to follow another fishing strategy, because I came to the conclusion the other day that my new rod for casting is okay, but I have a problem with the reel. So it doesn't make any sense. I lost like 10 artificials, 10 lures in the last days, just because I cast, I catch a big fish, the big fish is hooked, but then I cannot retrieve it. And eventually, after 5 minutes, after 20 minutes, after half an hour, I lose the leader and the lure. And I am also a little bit frustrated. So I thought I will buy a new reel, which I did, and I will not use today the casting rod, which I decided to do a little bit against my will, because this is my favorite rod. But I decided I wanted to make a trial, which I did. So I brought with me the small jigging, the jigging rod with the small jigging reel, and I did some jigging. And by the way, the fish I caught was with a jigging rod, so really no complaint. The jigging rod is working perfectly, the reel is working perfectly for that kind of fish, for small fish. If by mistake that jigging rod is picking up a big fish, well, difficult to pull it back. And I will tell you later, I had this experience at the end when I was behind the breakwaters. I will tell you later about that. So what I did today, I tried to do something which is very new for me. I wanted to use the trolling rod as a casting rod. and in between casting and jigging. I thought this is the strongest rod I have, with the strongest reel, with the strongest line, and all the very strong elements, metallic elements. So if I hook anything, I would reel it back. No way. So what I did is I connected a very strong leader to the line, to this nylon line I have on the trolling. The trolling rod is a metallic rod, quite heavy, all made of metallic elements. I also bought a sort of pad to help me to use it, because it's very heavy on the shoulders, on the arms. It's not easy to operate, especially when you are alone. Again, going alone is something which is having a lot of impact on the technique. Therefore, I connected a leader to that line, and I cast, not really casted, I would say jigged. I jigged a bit, and of course I hooked fish. I hooked one big fish, which was very strong because I could not reel it in easily. So I thought I would use the strategy of letting it go until it gets tired, and then later on I will reel it in. No problem with this rod. And so I did. The idea, when you are on your hook a big fish, it's a different technique from what I've been doing until now. Until now, I hook a fish, I pull it back, because I'm sort of excited that the fish is there and I want to pull it back. And that works for small fish, because they are not able to escape and to pull your line away. But for bigger fish, that's not strategy. Because what happens is that the fish is putting a lot of pressure on the line, especially at the beginning when he is still very energetic. So what happens is that the strength of the line and all the other materials is pushed to the limit, and eventually something breaks. Or if the hook is not very well positioned on the fish, simply the fish gets away and you reel back your lure, your line, but you don't reel in the fish. So the strategy here, I'm learning, because I'm still learning. I'm learning from experience of other people, from YouTube videos, from Jacopo very much, and his suggestions, but also from listening to others and asking to the fishing tackle shop keepers and people who are working there, because they are quite experienced. So I only have to listen and learn from them. So my strategy, finally, when I hooked a big fish, was that one. I just let it go. I let it go, and I have 300 meters on that line, so enough to let it go, and then once it is tired, to reel it back. And I thought I will put my drag in a way to let it be tired, and at the very end it will be normal stuff to pull it back. So I did, and I waited, and the line was going out, and the line was going out, and the line was going out, and it was going out, the line 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 was going out, and I could not stop it again. This is really, for me, it's something I don't understand. I really don't understand how this works. So most of my line was out. It was already in the last quarter of my line, and I thought, okay, now it's time to be tired, isn't it? So if you are not tired, well, for me, it's the time to start pushing up a little bit. It's the time to push up a little bit the drag and to reel you back. No way. No way. I put the drag a bit more slowly, very slowly, because I really want to feel it slowly, I put it up, and at a certain point, when I was already, pulling back my rod, the fish got away. I didn't lose anything, which means that the setup is good. It's very strong and effective. But yeah, it didn't work out. I could not get the fish. Good experience, but then I was already feeling a little bit sick, so I decided to go back. The experience is good, and that's also a way to use that trolling rod in a way which is, to me, more entertaining than just trolling. Trolling, I find it boring and not very interesting also. Final experience, and here I'm closing the fishing experience today. Final experience, I went back to the breakwaters, and while I was cleaning the fish and enjoying the weather there, a little bit of breeze and the sun and no waves at all, it was amazing. I enjoyed it. I was drinking my beer and cleaning the fish, and I thought, well, I will cast. I will leave it down. Let's see what happens. I hooked twice. So behind the breakwaters, it should not be disregarded, despite the experience that Ahmed and Ashraf had with me. Chen Wei with me also, we had a very good experience. This is not the time like that one when there were so many barracuda, it was easy to fish them. But there is something behind the breakwaters, and something big, because both times I jigged and I hooked something, it was something very, very big. Not as big as out in the open, but big enough to not be able to retrieve it. And in the end, I actually lost the line for my negligence again, because the line caught up. Ahmed, you remember, same problem as you had, caught up with the propellers. Yeah, because there was a lot of wind, so the boat was, of course, moving back and forth between the breakwaters and the island. So I had from time to time to adjust, to turn on the engines, and when you have a fish on, to run inside the cabin and turn on the engines and move the boat, it's very difficult. So eventually I made a mistake and I lost. It's fine. I lost a bit of line and I lost my lure. Again, I lost another redhead. It's okay. The last point I want to make is how beautiful this experience has become. And I am really missing a friend, a girlfriend, to come with me. I think sharing this experience is really something which will make me appreciate it even more. I enjoy being alone, no doubt. But to be honest, since the COVID, I have been thinking a little bit more about my attitude regarding solitude. And it's true, I like solitude, but I think my appreciation for solitude falls into an appreciation of social life. So I don't like to be just alone. And these months in which hopefully they will come to an end. These months I discovered that I like very much the social life and the social interaction. And enjoying things, beautiful sceneries, experiences, is twice as rewarding when you are doing that together with somebody you like. So, of course, I miss my friends and I miss my girlfriend as well, of course. And I really wish we could share all that in the future. I understand that the frequency and the timing of my going out in these days is not compatible with the work activity, so I'm also very grateful that in these weeks I could do this recklessly, but really appreciating it, thankful and grateful to, I would say, the good opportunities that have been given to me. But at the same time, I really think this is something that I don't want to keep all for myself and just tell you on the video like that. I wish really soon, hopefully, inshallah, that we can share it together. I am getting more familiar with the technique, and you know, once I will be over with this technical aspect, a bit like desert driving, it will be a relief for all of you and for me as well. But at the same time, I would really start enjoying the whole thing, because I will not concentrate so much anymore on the technical aspect of fishing. I will know what to do. I will just do it, and for the rest of the time I will just enjoy. So that's all for my update today, and I'm really looking forward to meeting you, all of you, soon. I am missing you, my friends and my girlfriend. I really would like to have some more time together to spend and to enjoy not only fishing and boating, but doing some things that we like to do, maybe chatting and having a lunch together. My feeling is that the virus situation is receding, so we may hope that in the next weeks or months, before the end of the year, in the UAE the situation will be more stabilized and you will go back to work, all of you, including me. And this will be a very long time, but a time limited in the past. Something we have passed and we have lived, and that's over. I wish during the winter that we will have more time to spend together and to enjoy. But for the time being, without being so emotional anymore, for the time being, I want to wish you a very good and beautiful weekend. Enjoy it, relax, and I hope to speak and update you again soon. Goodbye and see you soon. Bye bye.
If only you knew I would die for you. One of us gotta say the